time to have a look at a few of the big stories. Sky News and 2GB host Chris Smith. Chris, we've been talking about this for a few days now. This lockdown in Victoria, in Melbourne, it's a shocker.
It's an embarrassment because by definition, under the Commonwealth medical guidelines, Melbourne isn't even classified as a hotspot. You've got to have the 10 infections over a period of 3 days to be classified as a hotspot. They've had 5, they've had 6, they've had 4, they've had 3. Like, seriously. And people are being, robbed of getting their kids to school again. And I've got relatives, they've gone to Tasmania. They fled to Tasmania 10 days ago. Another group of relatives fled to the ACT. Like, what sort of madness are we creating when we're forcing people in a city to go to other places for some kind of survival mechanism? It's just outrageous. And I'm sorry, you should be able to handle 70 infections over a period of 10 days, and especially when you're not supported by JobKeeper. There will be nothing left of the Victorian economy.
What do you think of the temporary COVID disaster payment? Is it enough? Do we need more? What sort of incentives do we need?
Well, I'm sad about the federal government bowing down to make this happen, because it only incentivises governments like Victoria to go into lockdown because, the federal government will come to our rescue. If we lock down for more than 7 days, they'll come to our rescue. I'm not supportive of it. I'm glad that the Victorian government has tried to help businesses because they are the people that are employing people. But they should be taking full responsibility for lockdowns that are unjustified.
And that, look, look, for those that aren't working, the money's obviously, but it's like taking a water pistol to a gunfight. It needs so much more. It needs the larger view that we aren't going to go into lockdown when these things just happen. Look, we could bang on about that all day because I think we're very passionate about it as a collective. What about Chris Minns heading to New South Wales? He's made his first pitch to voters.
Yeah, interesting, talking about tolls. And this is really good. I'm glad that the Labor Party finally are not talking about themselves and are talking about things that, your average voter in New South Wales cares about. But, gee, they've wasted a full week, looking at their own bellies. I just think they could have got on with this a week ago. Chris Minns has been dying to get the Labor leadership ever since Jody McKay beat him for the ballot. Well, he's finally got it. And he's got to make a difference. He's got to have an impact. And Jody McKay didn't seem to have an impact. Well, he's got the poison chalice now. We'll see what he produces.
And this week, South Australia Health, they backpedalled on advice to footy fans not to touch the ball at this weekend's clash between the Crows and Collingwood. We have the grab from it. Let's take a listen.
If you are at Adelaide Oval and the ball comes towards you, my advice to you is to duck and just do not touch that ball.
Oh, my goodness gracious me. Chris,
you see,
you know me well for a long time since I've been a boy, and I've stuffed some things up, but that is the best. That is dropping the ball.
And the thing is, the ball, if it is somehow connected to a virus, is going to be more dangerous to the players, not to the people in the crowd. The people in the crowd are the ones that may be running the virus. But look, then the next day she started talking about the sweaty bodies that touched the ball, and then the third day she just says, "Oh, I wasn't really serious when I spoke about that." What a joke! Obviously, they fear that Melbourne people are coming to South Australia. Quick, maybe they could play the next AFL game without the ball, Tim.
I think the first NRL game after COVID, when there was no crowd, I think it was the cameraman that actually had to go and wash the ball every 10 minutes. Remember that?
That's right. That's right.
Disinfect the ball. Yeah, there's been some insanity. There's a great comedy show. I mean, as serious as this is, some of the ridiculous things that we've seen go down over the last little while has been phenomenal. Now, the state's chief. When you have someone like that come out like that in South Australia, what do people on the street think? What do you think their perception? And we're seeing in Victoria as well. What do constituents think?
Yeah, there's been a lot of talk on 5AA in Adelaide about those remarks and how we had 3 classic remarks over 3 days, and people are just shaking their heads, saying, "What kind of confidence can we have in the chief medical officers of our state when they make statements like that. Like, give us a break. And this is the problem. You don't know what advice you're getting and what advice to believe. And it's happening everywhere. I've got to say, between Brett Sutton, between Nicola in South Australia and Jeanette Young in Queensland, I've got to say we are an international laughingstock.